And screen share. Screen share. Share screen. There we go. Like that. And like that. There. How are we doing? Yay? Okay, good. Okay, my name is Bailey, and I am a technology and learning specialist for TIE. I've been here for a few years now, and one of the things that I started working with a few years ago was augmented reality, and I absolutely love it. I think the applications are limitless. What you can do inside the classroom, outside the classroom. So what I want to do today is share some of those things with you so that you can find out some more about augmented reality and possibly integrate it into classrooms that you are working in. So in short, the big question we get is augmented reality. Most people have heard of virtual reality. Augmented reality, and it says right there in one sentence, is the layering of some sort of technology on top of the real world. There are a lot of games that use it. There are, and then it's also, we as a society have seen it and didn't even realize that we were seeing it. One of the some of the apps that I'll show you, I was using some of these apps for quite a few years and never even realized that they were a form of augmented reality. We see them in sports. We see them, a lot of advertisers are now using them. So it's becoming a very common medium for people to use, and it is being integrated into the classroom. Some of the TV examples that I was talking about, in football, you see the first down line. And I see if this opens up. This is actually a clip from the Super Bowl, which shows, let's go back real quick. Right here, believe it or not, this is, there. This line right here is a form of augmented reality, as is their little line that they drew there. Okay, anytime they overlay something onto a football game like this, where they're telling you that they've got 3rd and 8, this is where they're starting, they need to get it over to the yellow line. That is a form of augmented reality. You see them on sports fields and in sports arenas when they are, advertisers use them to flash their logo or their little commercial. We see that at home. The people that are in the stadium don't see it. The world record line, another one that's a very common thing. Oops, it's coming up. And you see that a lot during the Olympics. That right there, form of augmented reality, where they're overlaying all the names in the countries. And we will move. There we go, world record line. It's actually moving with the swimmers. So you can see that when Michael Phelps was swimming, he was, there we go, he was swimming faster than the world record line. It's going to come back up again, and you'll see that he beat the record. This was his world record breaking swim at the Beijing Olympics. So that green line is your world record line. Again, just a very basic, but a sample of augmented reality that we see in the real world that honestly many people, and I know I didn't realize, was augmented reality. The app that I mentioned earlier was Google Sky Map, and that is a wonderful app that works on Android, and it shows the position of the stars. You hold your phone up to the stars, and it will show you the stars, the moons. You can get all the constellations. Wonderful free app, but it only works on Android. It does not work on Apple products. Some other examples are creative photography and amusement parks, GPS. As I mentioned before, augmented reality is where they have overlaid something on top of the real world. It is a computer-generated something, depending on what they're wanting. The big question is, what is the difference between virtual reality and augmented reality? And the big difference is that virtual reality takes you to another place, is probably the most simple explanation. It immerses the viewer into another place so that they can experience something differently. Where augmented reality adds something with enhancements, such as, it adds something to the area that you are in right now. You need something like a phone or an iPad, which is what I will be using in a little bit to show you some of the AR apps that are available. But it's a wonderful, easy way to see things that you didn't even realize were even there. The big thing that is driving AR and why so much is coming out right now is because of the accessible technology. High-speed internet, the fact that we can carry like 4G all the time, that we can be connected almost all the time, that we can carry this with us to places. And as a result, we can scan and find things and find out about different things just by carrying this little piece of technology. Technology and bandwidth and storage have made a big difference in driving AR. So some of the ways that it's being used, advertising. I know that movie posters, a lot of movies have started trying to integrate it as a way to show off their movie. Marketing. I will show you science and medicine samples, and education is just a wonderful arena that AR can be used. So how does AR work? That's the most basic question. Well, you need an internet connection, and you need something to display it, whether it be a handheld device. I do know, as we saw with the football and things like that, the football and the swimming, they can be displayed on television. The easiest and most accessible thing is to use it if you have a phone or an iPad or a tablet. And that's where you can take your things out into the world and find out about different things about them. Amusement parks have started using them to give, and museums have started using them so that people can take their phone with them as they walk around the museum, and they can scan what's called a trigger image, and they can learn more about that piece of artwork or that sculpture. It's a wonderful, easy way to get more information without having to have all sorts of people everywhere at once. So the question is, how do they make AR work? And really what it takes is some sort of an augmented reality app. There are, and what you'll see on the screen are several different apps. Some of them I will be showing you today. This is Google Glasses. This is Elements 4D. This is the Google Sky Map. Aurasma, which is one I will be showing you today. This is a game called Ingress. This is Google, and I will show you this one, Google Translate. This is the Body Anatomy 4D. This is called Elements. There's Daiquiri, and so there's a lot of different things. And again, to make it work for what you would want, especially as in the education field, you need either a phone or a portable device that the students can use to look at it. I know a lot of schools are one-to-one, and many of them have iPads or tablets of some sort. Okay, so and I will be showing you this exact text. One of the places or one of the things that you can use is Google Translate. I've traveled overseas, been over to Europe. I've been to China a couple times, which is why I have the Chinese one characters on there. I wish I would have had Google Translate, because it is something that you can download onto here, and all you have to do is hold this over the letters, over the phrase, and choose which language is the target language, and which is the trigger language, and it will translate it for you on your screen immediately. And I'll show you that in just a few minutes. I mentioned Anatomy 4D. These are the two images that we will be using, and you will see the heart and the human body come to life in 3D and 4D, because they do add sound, and we can look at all sorts of different aspects of it. One of the things that I really love about this program is I remember when I was in school having to identify the parts of a heart on a flat piece of paper like this. I did not do very well. I will be honest, it was because it was so flat, and it just didn't make a lot of sense to me. When you see the heart come to life, it's absolutely amazing what the students can learn about the different parts. Elements 4D is the next one that we'll look at, and that one, you start with a piece of paper like that. And can you see me in the corner or on the side? Do you see me? Yes? Okay. And what you do is you take that flat image, cut it out, and tape it or glue it together into something like this. And then from there, I will show you what it does. This is really cool. Musical strings, I will demonstrate that one as well. That one plays music, and it shows what happens when the strings get longer and shorter, and you can change the tones. Aurasma is the app that you can use as an educator to create trigger images that link to other things. And I will show some samples of that, really neat samples, and just some neat ideas that you can use that for. This is a really neat video. It's called Teaching with Aurasma. It's about a 3.5-minute video. And what it is a school that has incorporated using augmented reality in the entire school. And I will show you, I'm not going to show you the whole thing. However, I did put a link for this video and some of the other things on my TIE site, and I'll give you that that information at the end. But it's, if you go to tie.net and look under staff and find Bailey Kowalski, you will be able to click over there and find my presentations. And there is one called Tech Tuesday, Augmented Reality, so you can get the information from there. But I do want to share very quickly this, just a small piece of it. It's not going. There we go. Moving back, and what they talk about, and I can just show you, is they have a whole board here that you'll see a little A in the corner that they've put there. And what that means to that school is that if they hold up their device that has Aurasma, open up the app, they will be sent to a video link or sent to, like this is a math one. If you do that, if you click on there, you can see how the person solved the problem. Some of them will show videos. It'll link to YouTube videos. Some of them will show, it'll link to a museum site to give more information. So it's a really, really good video on how one school has integrated Aurasma into their classroom. So I do think that if you get the chance, please take a look at it. I had been mentioning something called trigger images, and these right in front of you are 3 trigger images that I created for use in a classroom, or just because. One of them and you'll see it, was attached to a report that was done by a student. She was actually my daughter, but I got her to do this for me. And you'll see the report, and in it are 2 trigger images. And so this is a way for students to turn in a report that gives the outline or a basic idea of what they're talking about. And then if you are both using the Aurasma app, students can create a video that links to the trigger image. So what you have is an oral report that does not take up class time, does not take up teaching time. This right here, you've got people trying to do y equals mx plus b. I did teach math, 8th grade math for several years, and so my kids used to sing the song. If students used the app, held their phone up and clicked on this, they would scan this. This would send them to the YouTube area where I have my students singing the song so that they could learn it that way. This is just a video of my youngest putting on socks. Silly as it may seem, very, very simple. I did have somebody once who mentioned that they used Aurasma for a wedding reception, and they used all of the just things that were on, I think they were seed packets, and with each seed packet somebody recorded a video that went as a congratulatory video that went to the bride and groom. So when the bride and groom could scan each of those things, they would get a video of people saying congratulations to them. Really neat, clever idea. So it is obviously something that can also be used outside of education in clever ways. I know it says thank you, we're not done. What I need to do, so I'm going to stop the screen sharing. I am going to see if we can, let me stop sharing for just 1 minute. I have to put on turn on something called Reflector. And Reflector, if it works, will reflect what I have in my iPad, and will reflect it and put it on the screen. So I am waiting. Okay, let's get that. There we go. It should be mirroring very soon. Okay. Now, let me go back to you guys. There we go. I am going to pull, move. There we go. I'm going to turn the mute off so that if you have questions, you can ask. I suggest that on your end, if you can mute when you don't want to talk, that would help. But this way, if you want to ask a question, you are more than welcome to ask. Okay, so let me go back to screen share, desktop, make sure we're doing it. And okay, here we go. I have an augmented reality area where I have a bunch of the apps that are available. So let me, what was the first one that I mentioned? Let's go to the Google Translate. So Google Translate is the G that says translate. And you'll notice on the top There is in a green bar, English to French. Well, I want to know if I were traveling in France, all I have to do is take this, and I have a piece of text here, and it automatically translated it on my iPad. And if you look, it's kind of hard to see. It says Je t'adore, which is I love you in French. Then I have, let's see if I can change to, I don't want to do English, I'd like to use Chinese. And I don't want French, I'd like it to give it to me in English. And then I go back and click the camera button. And again, see if this does this. It did earlier. It's not right now, it's supposed to show me. There we go. Use your finger to highlight the text. So I'm just swiping my finger across the text. And you'll see in the upper left-hand corner that it says Happy New Year. And it is Chinese New Year, was yesterday, started yesterday. So this is the reason that those two programs, the French one and the Chinese one, work differently, is because some of them are some of the languages like French and Spanish and English are automatically on here, and then there's other languages that need to be downloaded. And for the languages that need to be downloaded, they do require that you swipe with your finger. There we go. That you swipe with your fingers so that they know exactly the piece of text that you're wanting. But it's a wonderful app. I've had so much fun with it, and it sure would make travel a lot easier. Okay, let's go to anatomy. Anatomy. Let's start with the body. So this was Anatomy 4D. Looks like that. Give it just a minute to open up. Oops, not what I wanted. There we go. Okay. And if you will recall, all I had was a piece of paper, and that's all this is. You can see I'm sort of wiggling it around. All it is a piece of paper. But if I set it down, whoosh, okay. If I set it down, and here appears a image of a human body. On the right-hand side is a scrolling thing, is a dial that you can turn so that I can look at and I can click on the words, and you'll notice that by clicking on muscular, we got rid of the muscular area. I can zoom in and make things larger. Nervous system, lymphatic system. I'm just holding the iPad in front of me, and I am turning the page. What this allows you to do is actually get down really close to individual pieces and parts of the anatomy, and you can enlarge it just by pinching or squeezing your fingers. Whoa, okay, it went too big there. Sorry about that. Let's see, gastrointestinal, circulatory. You can change the sex of them, but I'm not going to do that today. So it's nice because you can really look deep inside. That's the respiratory system. So this one is the human body. Wonderful, wonderful thing. And this is just would have been amazing for learning biology and anatomy. The other one that is very similar to that, hold on one second, is the heart. And this one's my favorite. Same thing, a flat image. That turns into a 3D heart. And just like the other one, I can turn the page. I'm turning this down a little. And let's do it again. There we go. Now, So you can look at individual parts and pieces. Just like the other one, you have a dial on the right-hand side. So we can look at the blood flow, the veins, left atrium. This is where it's kind of neat, is if we look in the left atrium, so there's the left atrium. If I stop the blood flow, you can actually see the valves opening and closing. Same thing with the right atrium. Let me go over there, we turn this, do the same thing, go to the right atrium. And again, you can see if I stop the blood flow, you can see the valves opening and closing. It is, there we go. It's a phenomenal app, and okay, it's still mirroring. I am blown away by what, there we go. I'm blown away by what it can do in helping students learn that material. The next one is the Elements 4D. So
Question?
Yes, of course.
Do you just print the paper off the website then? There's just a website you print those. Okay.
Yes, you print the, and I will have those links on my webpage for you.
Great.
Yeah, you just print these pages, and again, I've just used regular paper, not cardstock or anything, and you print it, and all they need is the specific app, and that app is Anatomy 4D. It is a free app. One of the things I really wanted to make sure that I offered you when you were watching this is there are some apps that charge money, and I wanted to make sure that everything that is offered to you through this webinar is all free. So those are all free. The next one is also made by the same company. The company is called DAQRI, and that's spelled D-A-Q-R-I. And DAQRI also created the little cubes. So we will go in, and this is called Elements 4D, and you will see, looks like this. This was the Anatomy 4D app just to the left of it. So Anatomy 4D, and the Anatomy 4D works for both the human body and the heart. Elements 4D works with these. And I'm going to remind you that it starts with a very basic piece of paper that you cut and tape or paste together. And after that is completed, you can then open the Elements 4D app and start playing with them. So I will show you. There we go. There we go. So here is one. What you have here is it triggers, the trigger image is on that one side. So this is sodium. The nice thing is that you can see what it looks like. You can turn it a little bit. If I click on the word sodium, you will notice that those words came up. Talks about sodium, it talks about its symbol, its number, what type of category it's under. Okay, here is another one. I'm going to close that one out. Here's potassium. And here's what potassium looks like. The neat thing is this really gives students an idea of what the elements will look like or would look like if they could see them. There are some like this, helium, which is a gas, so you're not going to be able to. Why is it not triggering? There we go. This looks pretty boring. Looks like there's nothing in there, but that's because it's a gas. This one, another gas, there we go, chlorine. You can see that it's a green. And if you click on chlorine, it's a halogen. First chemical weapon to find its use in World War I is what it says. So the really neat thing about this is that you can have two separate ones. And again, you can see them from the side. But when you take these two, put them together, there we go. Sorry about that. You will see that what we have now is sodium chloride, and sodium chloride is, as everybody should know, just plain table salt. So you can take, sorry, it keeps trying to trigger on them. I have tried to put 3 elements together, and that didn't work. Only 2 of them worked. But it is really, really cool. This one's gold. It is neat to be able to add them together and see what, there's your gold bar, to see what you can create. Okay, let's move away from that. Any questions on that? There we go. Any questions on that one? I will say that if you are interested in making those, this is the paper copy. These can get squished very quickly. For use in a classroom, all I did was cut out each of the individual ones and made it with, I found little 2 by 2 by 2 cubes, wooden cubes. I believe that you can get them at a place like Hobby Lobby, or you can just go have them cut at a lumber store. Wonderful, easy piece, and all it is wood. And these will last a lot longer. I just used glue stick to glue them on. Okay, next, let's see. Musical strings. Musical strings. So this one uses the app called Enchantium, which is up here in the upper right-hand corner. This will load. We have to give it just a minute to load. There we go. And what you'll see is these 3 discs that have just created a triangle. If you slide your finger across one of the lines that it's created, you should hear a tone that comes out. Okay, I'm going to stop that for a second because I want you to hear. You can change the type of tone that is emitted by tapping on the circle. So I tapped on that big sunshine, and now if I swipe, you'll see the sound changed. Now I tapped on it again. Sounds like I'm stringing. Now I can change the note that comes out of it by moving the circles closer or farther apart. So now, so this this one is applicable for both science classroom where you're talking about wavelengths and what happens with wavelengths, and also it could be used in a music classroom. Just kind of a fun, silly app that you could actually have a lot of fun with. From there, we have the app called Aurasma. So I'm going to open up that app, and that is the one that you can use to create trigger images. You will see Aurasma up here. And trigger images are things that you have decided that when somebody holds a phone or a tablet toward that image, something will happen. And you can make that happen. So here is, I'm going to open up Aurasma, and I will show you, hold on, let me do something real quick. I am going to, can you see this page? Okay, this was a report called My Favorite Dinosaur that my daughter did, and you'll notice that there are 2 pictures on it. and it has some words on it that gives some brief descriptions. So now what I'm going to do is open the app and hold it over the trigger images. There we go. Okay. And then there is a second trigger image that will open another video. If it focuses. There we go. Okay, so the nice thing about this is that students can give a basic outline or basic description of what's going on, and then you can hear them tell about and talk about things that are important to them. Each of those trigger videos that we created from the trigger images, each of those videos was about 1 minute. Put it together and then attached it to these. Very, very simple, but in the video that I mentioned earlier about the school that's using augmented reality, they are doing things like that, where students are making and compiling and creating videos of themselves. So they're getting video reports instead of just book reports or written reports. So you actually get to hear the students talk about things in their own words. And here was some of your trigger images. The video that I had there is actually saved in Aurasma. This trigger image of y equals mx plus b is saved at YouTube. So you can link to external sites. And I don't have one, but if I had a picture of the Eiffel Tower, I could actually go toward, have it trigger to a museum in Paris that talks about the Eiffel Tower, to the Eiffel Tower itself. You could go to live footage, a live feed of the Eiffel Tower. You choose those trigger images or those trigger videos. So here is the next one, and you will see that it opens up a new page and a video comes up of kids. It's probably going to be loud. Oh, this one didn't work. Of kids singing the y equals mx plus b song. That's a bummer. See if this one works. Gotta love technology when it works. See if this one works. No, I will tell you it might be a connection error, so that might be something that's going on. I do apologize. Here, let me get back there. Sorry about that. They were, and you could see that they were YouTube videos that came on, but it is possible it was a connection error. The other, let me double check. I'm sorry.
Do you have problems with the quality of the picture? Like I've just experimented with Aurasma, and it'll say, well, you have too many, it's a sparse image. So how do you get rid of that and get a better image that you can?
Yeah, when trigger images want trigger images to have a good amount of detail. I will say that this actually was too much detail, and half the time I couldn't get the video to load. In other words, it wouldn't take us even to YouTube, and you can see up here that it was going to YouTube, it just never, something happened. Mm-hmm. It did work when I was at home, I'm telling you. So this one I think had too much in it. Half of it might have worked better. So I think when it comes to trigger images, something that is good is this had a lot of detail in it, and it even had some words, and that helped. This had just color and words, and so it gave it something to look at. So I really, they prefer things that are in color rather than black and white, and the text on this one worked, but usually some sort of an image, some sort of a picture helps. Does that make sense?
Okay,
Okay.
I'll try that. Yeah, thanks.
No problem. Then, so we talked about the picture images. The other thing that I've seen used are, there are some books that are available that offer augmented reality. And this one, I was playing with a lot earlier. We had fun with it. Again, you go and download the app. This one's called iDinosaur. And if you click on that, once it opens, okay, we're going to hit play. And you will see, there's my book. Okay, I'm turning that down a little. Okay, what you will see here is a box, and in the bottom right-hand corner, I click open the box. Oh, did it again. I keep putting my finger over it. There we go. There. And I can make him move. I can make him turn. Where is he going? There he is. He's turning. I can make him go back that way. Come toward me. And we can, and snap. So I am going to close this. There we go. There are some books, and they do have, I have one that's iScience. So that gives students an opportunity to work with some science things. I have a book that is, let's see, I've got the dinosaur, the science. There's one on weather, so they can create a tornado and they can create an earthquake and look at the damage effects of what happens with one that's a 5 on the Richter scale compared to a 7 and what happens. Something else that I wanted to show you, I think I am done with the iPad, so I'm going to turn this off and stop the mirroring. There we go. One of the other things that, and I'm gonna, these links are on the web page, is just, there we go. The Weather Channel has been using, has started using augmented reality within, I'm guessing, a little over a year. I don't know when this was. Yeah, May of 2015 is when this one came out. And this is Jim Cantori talking about how and showing how tornadoes happen. And you will see it come to life. And this is what's so neat for me as an educator, to watch the way some of these things are coming to life on screen and the way that they're being used educationally. Showing that that little tornado that we see that really seems huge, if you go back to that, is actually tiny compared to the entire system that's creating it. Just things that students can really learn a lot from. And so there's some really good links and information about that too. So today we have talked about augmented reality, and I've shown you some good examples that are out there. Erasmus is a wonderful app that I've been playing with a lot, and am trying to get some more of the teachers that I work with using it so that they can have their students be creating with it. Every time I talk about augmented reality, something new comes up. And just in preparing for Tech Tuesday, there's some new things that some new apps and some new organizations that I want to start looking into, because there's so much that is new that's coming out. So do you have any questions, either of you?
I was going to comment, I know you probably already know this, but if anybody else didn't, the Guinness Book of World Records since 2013 has put AR in all of their books. So
Yes, thank you for that.
almost every school library that I run into seems to have it. And I know one experience of mine, we did a parent-teacher conference night. We just copied the images on a Xerox machine and put 4 iPads on a table for parents to walk by and got to view at least 4 of the images right off the table. And we just put the books up on the shelf to demo what was in the books.
That's awesome.
That was a good resource for us.
That's a wonderful resource. One of the other ways that I've seen it used is like back to school night, where the parents are coming in, and so they have different trigger images around the room, and parents can take either an iPad like you mentioned, or if they have the app on the phone, they can go around to the different trigger images and learn about the teacher and the expectations of the classroom and what students are going to be doing on certain days, things like that. And so it's a neat way to get everybody involved in back to school without having to repeat 25, 30 times if you're in a elementary classroom, without having to repeat all that again and again. And they've had wonderful success with that. But I really like the what you had mentioned, Marlon. Thank you.
Yeah, there's I think Yelp is the only one you didn't mention as a traveler, which has the monocle, and it's a free app, but it's great if you get inundated with restaurants and you're in a community and you don't know where's a good place to eat. That monocle augmented reality app is amazing to help you pick a good place.
Thank you so much for mentioning that. When I was doing some research and trying to find more information on this, I'd been looking at Monocle, but one of the things I wanted to do in coming in here is share what I've actually used. So Monocle is actually on my list of I need to put it on my phone and play with it out in the community, because before I can really comfortably talk about it, I want to be able to know how it works and what it does. So you have made it, so I'm definitely going to be putting this on there just because of your comments, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I think a business class or an economics, if they want to deal with small businesses, every restaurant, bar, there's a everything app. You can look for any business, hotels, and they could approach them and help them get more stars or help write reviews if they go there. It has education potential, I would say, even in a small.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I do have one. I do tech integrations full time. That's just my job.
Yes.
I'm not an educator. I came from the business community. Now I work in education.
Okay.
But is there any links that you guys or anything coming down the pipeline for? I know you know what HoloLens is.
Mm-hmm.
Samsung's big in VR and their gear sets. Is there anything coming that maybe, I know I'll go to Thai conference and things too, but is there anything coming that's going to be obtainable? There's always the in-between of the stuff we see on the tech sites compared to what the kids or us can get right now. So,
I don't know if this is answering your question, but one of the things that I'm really trying to delve into right now is the creation of making the 3D images.
Okay.
And that is where I'm at right now, is trying to make that happen, because I'm not there yet. So I don't know if that answers your question, but to me, that is sort of the next, from going from a trigger image with Aurasma to actually creating some things that really pop out at you more of what you see when, like the dinosaur and things like that.
Yeah, I've dealt with Aurasma too, and I never got to the point where I wanted to create my own and scan a 3D image and have it pop off the book. That was a little bit much for me, and I don't know if I'll have time for that. My focus right now isn't actually AR, but I have to stay up on all the technology.
Right.
I'm actually focused more on virtual field trips.
Yes.
Which is the Google Insight project and expeditions. And with Samsung's been hard to deal with. Google's been great to deal with. That's all I can tell you as far as virtual field trips. But I know they kind of overlap a little bit with everything that's coming out. But
there is a lot of overlap, and then there's, like I had mentioned with Google Sky Map and Apple products, there's some that there's going to be no overlap at all depending on the product. So that's, also when you're looking, and I know you've run into this, you got to see what's going to work on multiple platforms just because of that reason. What are you looking for as a link between what you see and what the kids, because I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
Virtual field trips fits because we're in South Dakota and it's a rural state. So there tends to be a lot of want to, if there's an easier way to do it, take them to the Smithsonian, and there's different places to go.
Right.
I do like the things you're showing me though, especially when it comes to molecules and science and taking the kids into an inner space that they can't go to also.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you, I've done the 4D app, the anatomy one. I love that one in the past. I didn't know they even had another one.
Yeah.
So you're still bringing me stuff to the table, which I appreciate, and it's been really good content. So
Good.
But I'm always out for something new, and and I think you've given me some pointers that I can help show some educators that I deal with, and
Well,
really pipeline.
With regard to your virtual field trips, the teachers can also do something as simple as using Erasma to help take kids as the trigger image to take kids on those virtual field trips.
Kind of where you're leaning to getting. They could put a picture of a frog up and they go to Costa Rica. The rainforest.
Correct. Yeah. And I do know that teachers have used that as, in homework. Here's your homework. Need you to finish these, answer this question. Make sure you use the trigger image because, as you said, it'll take you to Costa Rica or something. It'll take them and give them a lot more information than really they would have gotten even in class. Just because.
Now, dealing with educators, this is just a general question, but is this like I saw that board on the video, it's from 2013. Should teachers like science or social, world history, wherever they are, should they be working on goals that are a little more long-term, like when you're building images into a school, like a poster that's going to last, let's say, multiple years, because sometimes the uptake is a little slow, in an environment, or is it?
Yeah, to me, it depends. If we're talking whole school stuff, you might want something that's going to last for so many years. Regarding teachers themselves, it's nice to have things that can be used again and again, year after year. Something, if a trigger image is really good and it's got great information, but there's times when you've got to be able to keep current and change it.
Yeah.
With the changing times that are changing.
I just remember QR codes kind of had their, treasure hunt around the school day. I can kind of see that with like a fire hydrant. You could use that as an image in Erasma and get information on thermodynamics and how the chemicals work, and take you to different places. And that's something that's going to be in a school that's probably not going to change for a while. So
correct. That's exactly right. With regard to most, when I'm dealing with trigger images, it's always pictures. It's some sort of picture that is going to be static. It's not going to change. Where if I would have done a trigger image, I'm pulling this one back up, of my daughter's socks, but I wouldn't have taken a picture of them. I just put them on the ground. Those would have changed, that night. So yes, absolutely. You want something that's going to last a while. And just because of that fact that they can move and they can change very quickly. And if they are not the same, they're not going to be able to, the images won't trigger properly.
There is one more I will add to your list, which is amazing, and I can't even believe it's available to everybody, Photomath.
I did not know that one. Thank you.
It was out the first week of school. It was the most popular app on the iTunes App Store, and I did not know why. I was bored. I was picked up my kids out of school in the parking lot, and I was in my car, and I'm like, what is photomath? So I started wondering why it was the #1 downloaded. And basically, if it's a printed math problem in a book, just like your Google Translate,
Okay.
hold your phone over it, and not only will it solve it super fast, you can slide over and it will show you the workout method. So the work is on the side. So for us parents that forget how to do some of that math that our kids are doing,
Especially after middle school.
yeah, it was a saving grace a little bit. So
That's cool. Thank you.
yeah, photomath is probably my #1. I don't share. Diane, what's her name here, is our math counts people. I kind
Okay.
of from that one. Roxanne Larson.
Roxanne, yes, I know Roxanne.
Yep.
Okay.
So I was a little timid on showing her that one. I was like, yeah, the calculator, it's cheating, but I'm like, it's better than the calculator. Not only did it solve it faster than I could even put the problem in a Texas Instruments calculator,
Right.
showed the work, which the kids need.
Which is what they need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, thank you.
anyway,
I have taken notes from this, and I thank you for your input and your comments. I really appreciate it, Marlon. Thank
yep,
you.
I'm the last person at the office, so I better get out of here. But I appreciate
too.
the talk. It was a good
Thank
one.
you. Thank you so much, Marlon. Have a good day.
Awesome, you too.
Bye-bye.